And you sit there and say, what's the content of this character here that we're seeing on the news every day? These people protesting, these people, it's always something. And it's always the same type of person. It's my body, my choice. It's this. It's free Palestine. Oh, down with Israel. It's Iran. It's oh, how dare you take Maduro? I mean, the Maduro protests. These people are all ready. They're all activated. Like literally, they're paid.
Welcome to another episode of Conservative Talk Chicago. I'm your host, Jack Novak. Today we're going to explore a different aspect than we normally do. We're going to talk about January 6th and some of the evidence that's come to light regarding the charges and the attacks against our president and the Republican Party. Along with my team, we post episodes to impartially and pragmatically review the most important political issues without the innuendo and half-truths of liberally biased media. We do this through discourse and interviews with conservative elected officials, community leaders, and candidates who share their stories on unbiased perspectives, providing common sense answers and solutions to issues that affect Illinois residents. If you're frustrated as we and feel that most mainstream news is liberally biased and disingenuous, then welcome to Conservative Talk Chicago. We welcome your questions, concerns, and ideas. Please send them by email to talktome@conservativetalkchicago.com. During the first 12 months since President Trump took office, there have been many press releases regarding evidence buried by previous administrations that implicate the previous leftist executive branch of government, going as far back as former President Obama, including his cabinet and the intelligence community chain of command. This chain of command is typically known as the deep state. A book has even been republished containing information regarding deep state graft and its attacks on democracy through misdeed and violence by author James Comer, titled All the President's Money. There are many instances of apparent impropriety that are in the news and shouldn't be ignored and swept under the rug. Let's look at some of the apparent malfeasance perpetrated by the left. For example, China Energy Company wired millions of dollars to Biden family members using shell companies. Clinton received millions of dollars from Russia. Hunter Biden received kickback money from Ukraine. Hillary's handling of the Benghazi attack and the subsequent deleting of over 33,000 official public emails while using her private email server instead of her secure government server. President Biden's possession of classified documents in his home from his term as vice president that he was not authorized to be in possession of. How about the open borders with over 11 million illegal immigrants entering the United States and were then offered sanctuary in 12 liberal states and D.C. in violation of federal law? Sanctuary state governors and sanctuary city mayors telling local law enforcement to stand down, not quell riots and criminal acts of violence, and not ensure the safety of federal officers. The current Minnesota-Somali corruption scandal, with billions of dollars stolen from U.S. taxpayers. And there are many more instances being exposed. For example, according to information released by the FBI and the White House, details have been exposed of Congress, the FBI, the CIA, and even President Obama creating false narratives regarding the false Russian interference promoted to interfere with Trump's race for the 2016 presidency. Here is what was released. Then FBI Director James Comey has been indicted for lying to Congress about his involvement in forging evidence targeting Trump about non-existent Russian ties to subvert the 2016 election. Former Congressman Kinzinger actually defended Comey's lies during a congressional hearing by stating on CNN that everyone lies to Congress under oath. The Department of Justice has continued its looking into the hard evidence supporting claims that President Obama personally directed the FBI to create intelligence to frame Trump for colluding with Russia to influence the 2016 and again the 2020 elections. According to Fox News, the liberally biased media also colluded with the Democrats during the 2016 and 2020 elections to sow distrust and smear Trump. They even hid the facts that Hillary had mental health issues and that Russia was ready to use this information to influence her if she won the 2016 presidency. And remember, when Trump was sued, pardon the pun, on trumped-up charges by the New York City Attorney General for real estate fraud to the tune of $550 million in 2024. This was an obvious ploy to attempt to threaten and distract him during his 2024 presidential campaign. And then there was a January 6th episode. There have been many posts regarding the January 6, 2021 Capitol Hill demonstrations. Congress went ahead and ratified the 2020 election. However, there is much debate about the possibility of election malfeasance. Recent White House and FBI press releases have reported Democratic collusion involving the violence during the January 6 protests, including congressional interference preventing the authority to engage the D.C. National Guard to help ensure a peaceful demonstration. And then there is the misleading reporting and misquoting of President Trump's January 6 speech, where he cautioned demonstrators to only engage in peaceful protest, but instead was purposely misquoted to appear to be supporting violence and insurrection. There is even more information that appears to have been buried and just recently released during Trump's first 12 months in office. The following details are well documented and were released by the FBI and the White House. It was then broadcast to the general public by Fox News that on August 13, 2025, former Capitol Hill Police Chief Stephen Sund reported on his involvement regarding the January 6th event. On January 3, 2021, Chief Sund had requested the D.C. National Guard assistance to help control the January 6th demonstration. Nancy Pelosi's Sergeant-at-Arms denied his request. Under federal law, 2 U.S.C. Section 1970, he was then prohibited from directly contacting the Guard without specific approval. That same day, Carol Corbin offered him National Guard support, but Chief Sund had to decline because he lacked the legal authority to accept. Chief Sund also reported that on the day of the riots, Speaker Pelosi delayed his request to deploy the D.C. National Guard for over 70 agonizing minutes. After Chief Sund had released these statements, that then Speaker Pelosi was directly responsible for prohibiting him from requesting D.C. National Guard support, Pelosi tweeted, "Donald Trump delayed deploying the National Guard on January 6th. Now he's activating the D.C. Guard to quell crime in D.C., to distract from his incompetent mishandling of tariffs, health care, education, and immigration, just to name a few blunders." According to FBI Director Kash Patel, his office had seized Pelosi's office staff records, and that seizure had led to actionable evidence alleging that she orchestrated some January 6 violence. In addition, according to footage obtained from HBO, Pelosi had admitted fault for the January 6 riot as she was exiting the Capitol. There is now speculation that a grand jury hearing may be forthcoming. The propagandized attacks against President Trump were not limited to Democratic leaders in Congress. Trump's January 6 speech was heavily doctored by the media covering the rally, that is, by the BBC. Tim Davie, Director General of the BBC, along with Deborah Turnus, CEO of BBC News, have resigned over their involvement in conspiring against then-President Trump. BBC had edited Trump's speech to splice 2 different distinct segments of his speech, segments separated by over 55 minutes, to effectively change the rhetoric of his speech. Their efforts were directed to implicate President Trump, making it appear that he was calling for protesters to create a violent insurrection against members of the House and Senate. Edited and unedited footage of Trump's speech has been publicly released to corroborate this criminal intent against a sitting president. In fact, when President Trump was informed that the demonstration was becoming disruptive, he was recording urging demonstrators to remain peaceful and to go home. This information was originally suppressed. During the speech, he stated, "I know your pain. I know your hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anyone hurt. It is a very tough time." The video continued, but it was more of the same. Trump calling for peace, respect, and nonviolence. Then in an act of defiance, or possibly ignorance, against President Trump, Republican Senator Mitt Romney publicly condemned President Trump for encouraging an insurrection with his January 6 speech. He condemned the president and further spread misinformation. Romney went even further and declared that anyone who chooses to support President Trump's dangerous gambit would forever be seen as complicit in an unprecedented attack upon our democracy. These details are redefining the so-called conspiracy theories against Trump as actually true. This information seems to indicate that the far left committed criminal acts to destabilize Trump's efforts to win his elections and subvert his attempts to effectively govern as president. Just how far does this conspiracy against Trump go, that even Republicans aligned with the Democrats to attack a sitting president? It makes me wonder, and why would the Democrats go to all this effort if there was nothing to hide? With the release of BBC's top brass's involvement, it has become obvious that there was indeed a conspiracy to discredit President Trump. Along with propaganda attacks against the MAGA movement and the liberal media's apparent attack in fervor to discredit President Trump, this appears to be a blatant effort to actually mislead the American public. It sure seems even more likely the far left has something to hide. For years, right-wing Republicans, along with the news pundits for the truth, such as O'Reilly, Waters, Hannity, and Ingram, and dozens of others, have denounced lefty liberals for their brazen promoters of mistruths and lies. They, in turn, have been denounced by the Democrats as sowing conspiracy theories. Now, with Trump in office and the wolves no longer guarding the henhouse, details and data that don't fit the left's narrative are finally being uncovered, that denounce the lies and the deep state. The information being discovered in buried files and overlooked burn bags and the irresponsible actions of the left seem to clearly implicate Democrats of collusion and deceptive practices, interfering with elections, verbal abuse, libel, and the weaponizing of the intelligence community and the justice system. And the discovery and lefty madness is just getting started. Will there be a plethora of other more serious allegations? These are crimes being uncovered and are not just against President Trump, but also against the United States and our democracy. And ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, these crimes against America are attacking our freedoms and the truth, and are perpetrated to sow distrust and divide us. By 2026, you would think that we would have learned to work together as mature adults questing for the truth, to set aside our differences and bridge those differences with understanding, kindness, and a sense of fairness. We as a nation, we should be outraged for the exposed corruption, for the disrespect for the laws of the land, for putting illegal immigrants ahead of our own impoverished and sick, our homeless, and our abandoned veterans. We should be outraged for all the wasted energy, billions of fraudulently stolen and spent tax dollars, wasted resources and time, oh so much time, millions of man-hours directly and indirectly expended in protest and fighting the misinformation and the propaganda of the deep state. We should be outraged at the hypocrisy of our former elected Democratic leaders and presidents, who during their tenures had outed illegal aliens, threatening and carrying out the expulsion of millions of illegals from U.S. soil. Yet these same men and women have the audacity to directly and indirectly, through others in silence, to criticize President Trump when he enforces those same laws. We should be outraged that all this was weaponized to denigrate, discredit, prevent, put on the defensive, and attempt to remove President Trump from office. Our president is a man who is definitely not perfect, and whose only crime was to care for his country and run for the highest office of the United States. To care enough for our great nation to put his life on hold and focus all of his energies and efforts to fight to remake America into the respectful partner of the world. His goal? To prevent our nation from being further weakened and ultimately divided as pie a la mode amongst powerful influencers, predatory nations, and predacious forces from within. Remember all the effort promoting the New World Order between the 1990s and early 2000s? Well, that goal hasn't evaporated. The silence behind it is very loud, and the people behind it have just become more subtle in its promotion, with our nation the prize. After all the discovery and facts are laid bare, there will be many more important and difficult questions left to be answered. Will moderate liberals and moderate conservatives willingly face and seriously review all the newly uncovered data that appears to harshly contradict much that many have been led to believe? Will they fairly consider this newly uncovered information if it proves that President Trump had been targeted, set up, and viciously attacked with lies and actions, and that our prior leftist governments and the so-called deep state were behind this effort? Will Americans continue to deny these facts on principle? Principles created and based on lies. Will their bias against Trump continue to cloud and influence perspective, preventing the critical thinking necessary to question and recognize why this misinformation would be propagated by the far left Democrats in the liberally biased news media? Are Americans too far down the rabbit hole of the wonderland that lefty Democrats have woven to recognize the truth? Those are the questions. At this time, I'd like to pause and welcome our own Mike on the mic, joining me today to explore these apparent contradictions. This is another episode of Tit for Tat. Mike, welcome.
Oh, thanks, Jack. Thanks for having me on here. Great topic, huh?
It's a very difficult topic. One that I would not have really thought, was something that is true that it happened. But the more evidence that's released, I don't know, Mike. I'm sure you've had plenty of concerns, and you've seen plenty yourself, and that when you pause to consider what's been uncovered, these acts perpetrated against President Trump, the Republican Party, and our nation. I mean, what's your take on these revelations? And what on these events and actions that have been uncovered?
You were talking about all the corruption that we have evidence on, like Burisma, China, the China Energy Company, millions and millions and billions of dollars being, shelled around. We have evidence of that. This whole January 6th conspiracy, is it really anymore? Is it actually a conspiracy anymore? I mean,
the only thing we know,
wasn't
Mark,
it set up?
It happened. That's the only thing we know.
It's completely set up and exploited. It's the Princess and the Pea. I mean, they got one little tiny thing. They got Trump saying, you know what, we're going to show up and fight for our country. He didn't say anything violent. To hold him responsible is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So when you look at how the left behaves, and you look at how the right behaves, it's you don't even have to say anything. The evidence is in our behavior.
But only because there are brave people out there, like a lot of the reporters from Fox News and other stations that are not liberally biased, that are willing to put the truth out there. But most media doesn't cover it, and most people, they watch mainstream media, so they don't know all the truth. They don't know the facts that are come out. It's kind of hidden away from them.
Well, you know the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth, right? It's about 3 years. I mean, look at what happened yesterday in Minnesota. They were rioting and protesting the federal center for ICE, and they bashed in one of these officers' SUVs. They broke the window, ripped open the tailgate, and then it had all his weapons were in a big lockbox, that they have. Mm-hmm. They ripped that thing open. They're beating it open. They got it open. Everything disappeared from that car, from that SUV, in seconds.
All the weapons are gone.
All the weapons. Everything was stolen. Even the little Velcro badges that he stuck on the side of the boxes, stole those. Everything was gone in seconds. That's the behavior of a certain type of person. Mm-hmm. And when you see
they're definitely not patriots.
No. If you or I saw someone, we would stop that. We'd beat the heck out of that person. What are you doing? If someone was breaking into a cop car trying to steal weapons, like we would have to act.
That's what responsible people do.
Yeah, we would have to put ourselves in harm's way and act. But aside from that, let's just say the trunk was wide open. Nobody's around. What kind of a person just goes up and rips every single Velcro badge and every weapon and bullet and cases of bullets? Everything was gone in seconds. That's the character of a certain type of person. And that type of person is who we see every single day on the news. Every day. These protesters, these antagonists have nothing else to do.
Those very same people are the role models that their kids are learning from. How to disrespect law enforcement, how to disrespect people, the property of others, how to discredit for no other reason than because it's the popular thing to do, not the right thing to do. They're teaching their kids, and other kids and other people are observing this and learning bad behavior from that as well.
Well, there's many different types of grooming.
Good point.
I mean, when you see a trans person has kids, and those kids she told me she wanted to be a boy at 3. He told me he wanted to be a girl when he turned 5. Really, the odds of that, as far as the population of the U.S. or the globe, are like 1 in what, 15 million, and you just happen to have two of them. It's grooming. So it's the same thing with behavior. And, all of a sudden in the last 3 to 5 years, democracy is the number one word for, the Nancy Pelosi's of the world. He's trying to steal our democracy. What are you talking about? Mm-hmm. The only people that behave in a way that's against democracy, our democracy, our republic, are those people that are acting as they act.
There's another name for those people that are acting the way they are and subverting the laws, putting people in harm's way. It's called anarchy. There's anarchy
Anarchists,
going.
Yep.
They're basically, I don't believe in our government, only because it's President Trump up on top. If it was somebody else, they wouldn't be saying the very same things. Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, it's a joke, but it's also apparently there's some truth to it. People just hear the name and they lose their crap.
Oh yeah. I just think the whole January 6th thing, they've beaten this horse to a flattened surface pulp. Mm-hmm. It's been so exploited by the Dems that it's like, anybody sitting at home watching this, hearing about January 6th again, and knowing all the facts, we're just confirming everything. You already knew it in your heart. Everybody saw it. Everybody knew it. And now they just release more footage from inside. Mm-hmm. And that shaman, the QAnon shaman or whatever his name is, I forgot his name, but he was literally being walked around with officers. Totally, there was absolutely nothing. Did you see all that new footage?
I missed all that.
They're walking through just like, oh yeah, look at this painting. Oh, look at this door. This is the doorway to this way. And this shaman guy was completely plastered on every newspaper mm-hmm. and every news station for years. And now, now there's more footage. Oh, well, how convenient.
Well, there's always some misdirection. I mean, for the longest time, people were saying there's no Antifa. Now they're talking about protecting Antifa. Okay, we need them. They're patriots suddenly.
So you're admitting they exist.
Exactly. Now you're admitting they exist. When before they don't exist. It's something that Trump and Republicans have made up. Okay, it's
completely.
Well, what did Kash Patel say? I forget when he published this, but he was talking about the January 6th riots, demonstration, whatever you want to call it, and then before it turned violent. And he said that there were 274 plainclothes, undercover FBI agents.
Yep. Yeah.
In the crowd.
Yeah.
In the crowd that apparently people weren't aware of. What were they doing there? Why were they in the crowd?
Well, and we have video of them changing in the bushes, putting on MAGA shirts and Trump shirts.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, everybody wants to, not everybody, but I mean, they want to exploit us, but they don't want us to tell the truth. What were they doing there? Why were they changing into Trump gear?
The premise that I always come back to is that all of this that's being released and all the propaganda that's being thrown about. I mean, for example, when the Sun complained August 13th about Nancy Pelosi preventing him from calling the National Guard, and then she's got a tweet afterwards that that it was Trump's responsibility and his fault the Guard weren't called out, and he's calling them out now to protect Washington D.C. from the crime he's trying to get under control, and also to basically provide a misdirection against his tariff policies and everything else. She came out and said that, to try to undermine what Sun had said and what he had implied. The left's reason for making a lot of these statements is to add so much additional data and discussion that the average person says, I don't know what to believe. And so they discount everything and they look the other way because they don't know what's the truth any longer. We basically are failing to get our point across as Republicans, as conservatives, because there is so much misdirection and miscommunication, it's hard to make a case. I mean, one reason we talked about this stuff today, that I presented this information, was just to show that there are so many different acts that are going on, acts of defiance, by the left, acts of misinformation by the media, outside media. Why would England's BBC get involved in our demonstration on January 6th and completely misquote a sitting president if they weren't part of this so-called conspiracy?
Wow.
At some point, these things are no longer conspiracies. The facts say this is an attempt, a coup, so to speak, of trying to misdirect and denigrate somebody and a party. I mean, Republicans are considered whacks. We're socialists. The Republican Party is the one who attempted to stop, slavery.
Yeah.
Okay, we were the party, not the Democrats.
No, that's not true. That's a conspiracy.
Hey, exactly. What's really shameful is that we've got a lot of people out there that need to understand, that the only way we're going to finish these problems and resolve what's going on to the satisfaction where we are again a nation, that's not just sovereign in our beliefs, but also sovereign in our morality and how we behave.
That's exactly my point. How we behave. So when you sit there and you think about, Martin Luther King Day is coming up tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and you sit there and think, judge a man not by the color of his skin, but the content of his character. Mm-hmm. And you sit there and say, what's the content of this character here that we're seeing on the news every day? These people protesting, it's always something. And it's always the same type of person. It's my body, my choice. It's this. It's free Palestine. Oh, down with Israel. It's Iran. It's how dare you take Maduro? I mean, the Maduro protests. These people are all ready. They're all activated. Like literally, they're paid. So they were going around, and there's a guy in Chicago who got like $22 million wired to his foundation, and they confronted him about it. And he didn't speak. He just ran away from the camera. But $22 million to protest the Venezuelan Maduro raid. All these people were getting paid. By who? Where's the money coming from? Where did this one dude get $22 million to assemble a crew like that to protest the Venezuela Maduro raid?
We can guess.
Well, I think we all know, who's really pulling the strings on this globe. And, Tucker Carlson said it pretty abruptly. He said, well, with what I believe, being a Christian, it's not Soros so much. Soros is one of the arms of the actual person in charge.
I mean, let's go back to Venezuela, and then let's compare that to Cuba. Okay, Venezuela. Okay, we're having demonstrations and protests in the United States and some other countries too. Okay, that is orchestrated. These people don't know what's going on, but they're mobilized. They get out. They get signs, and when a lot of the signs look the same, there's somebody behind that printing this stuff up. Okay, so it's organized. And what are they protesting? They're protesting something where in that very country, the people on the streets are celebrating the freedom
all over the world
they experienced. Yeah, Venezuelans in the United States, in Chicago, in other countries, are celebrating the freedoms, and with the hope that their government will actually get away from the Maduro regime and its character and promote freedoms for the people again and prosperity, something they hadn't seen in a long time. That's the difference. Our people here, they don't care that ICE is trying to get, and it's a difficult job too. I mean, as James Mendrick, running for governor, our sheriff, DuPage County Sheriff, told us a few weeks back, they can do an ICE hold when people are arrested, and they're investigated for committing a crime. If there is a criminal background, they can do an ICE hold, keep them in the jail, notify ICE. ICE would come, collect them, and take them, put them before that tribunal, the magistrate. They'd evaluate and determine at that point if they should be sent back or go to jail or be prosecuted or whatever.
Right.
They'd evaluate that. But because Pritzker had prevented, he obstructed all the police in Illinois from doing that with the Safety Act and everything else, they cannot do an ICE hold. So the person, they do a background check, and they got to release this person. Now, ICE knows this person's in Chicago, so instead of being able to go to the jail and collect them, they got to find them. So they're going to the last known address. They're going to addresses where they have known relations or friends.
Right.
They're looking for them. Okay, Pritzker caused this problem. Okay, this is just one avenue of the insanity. And then our people, our residents, instead of understanding, they were trying to take murderers and rapists and armed robbers and people off the streets. They're actually hurting our citizens and are here illegally. They basically want to get out there. They want to break into somebody's car. They want to destroy property. They want to do protests. They want to get in the way of ICE, and they're doing their job. And they want to disrespect the federal government, federal law enforcement, and our sitting president, who's just trying to uphold the law. I mean, let's go back to immigration. I mean, there are cases where Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden, they went out. They used, I don't know if it was Homeland Security, if they had a formal ICE organization at the time, but they used government law enforcement to apprehend illegal aliens by the millions.
Oh, yeah.
Collect them and deport them. They did this. All those presidents. President Trump starts doing it, and everybody is up in arms, and they're out in protest and saying what he's doing is illegal. But when Trump is doing it, it's illegal. When Obama, Bush, and Clinton did it, Biden did it, it's perfectly fine. We love to do it. You're supporting our laws. You're protecting our interests. That is something that we as a nation should be outraged about as well.
Yeah.
The double standard. In fact, what outrages me even more is that Clinton, Bush, Obama, and you can't count Biden because the guy's half vegetable now. These guys know what they did. They see the injustice of how it's being perpetrated against what Trump is trying to accomplish, and they remain silent. They don't say, "Hey guys, what you're doing against Trump right now, what you're saying against Trump is wrong. We did this, and it made sense. There are laws in place, been laws in place for decades that we were enforcing, and so was your president today."
Yeah.
They don't say that. They remain quiet and let the people just go nuts about what's happening instead of realizing that what they're doing is interfering with an ongoing process to protect the interests of our nation.
Yeah, well, I think the overall truth is they don't want us to be flourishing right now while Trump's in office. They spent the last 9 years just destroying that man, trying to keep him away from the seat he's in. I have it right here, actually. Funny you mentioned it.
Oh, yeah, please.
I posted it the other day. So under Bill Clinton, 12.3 million people were deported through ICE. George W. Bush, 2 million people deported plus 8 million expulsion. Expulsion and deporting are two different things because expulsion can be considered voluntary.
Okay.
Meaning they get charged and they get a choice. But anyway, let's say there's 10 million there under George W. Obama, 3.1 million people deported. Trump, 2016 to 2020. Take a wild guess. 1 million.
I was going to say
That's
1 million.
it. 1 million. Biden let in 11.5 million people. Undocumented. We don't know who they are. We know that a lot of them are on terrorist watch lists.
Don't know where they went either.
Thousands of them. And now they're here. Thanks a lot. He let in 11.5 million people in just 4 years. So when we talk about the effects of January 6th, we talk about the effects of that possible election being stolen. You want to see the damage that immediately occurred. The first order was to shut down the Keystone. Second order was to open the damn gates. And what I was concerned with was how much money what is the budget of Homeland Security?
That's a good question. I don't know.
It's huge. It's like $250 billion. So when Biden was here and they were basically, directing traffic, this way, get on a bus and we'll take you to Chicago. Get on a bus, we'll take you to LA. Get on a bus, we'll take you to Dallas. That's what they were doing at the border, right? Where the hell, why did they need all that money? What were they doing?
How much of that money went to the border, went to the fence?
It's all of it. I'm talking about that budget for the border, the Mexico border. It's like $250 billion. Wow. And what were they doing? I mean, they're all playing cards, smoking cigarettes at the border. Yeah, this way.
Well, they actually tore it down, a lot of it down.
Oh, I know.
They had to recreate a lot of it.
And he sold off all of Trump's steel from 2020 or 2016. Sold it for pennies on the dollar. It cost us. But who cares? Let's focus on, Trump's doing this. Well, no, actually, this is the way America's been. And this is before we had a president that let everyone through the floodgates. Now we have a much heavier duty to clean out who the hell came in here.
Well, look at all the money that's spent right now on ICE. You got ICE set up all these different sanctuary cities trying to find these people. Okay, the resources alone, the manpower. I mean, these people are away from their families. I mean, they're being put up in hotels. I mean, they're living on the grid, but basically off the grid because a lot of the businesses don't even want to give them their business. I mean, they want to basically say, go someplace else. We don't support you. I mean, it's disheartening for the people trying to do the job. It's terrible for the neighborhoods. Yeah. The media should be actually, what we're saying right now, the media should be covering this as well and telling people this is what's happening. This is what's happened in the past. And you guys are wrong. That's what they should be doing. Why won't they do it? Yeah.
The people that are trying to keep us safe from the real scary people. There's always those mob movies, and it's like, no, I'm not a scary guy, but I can show you a scary guy. That's what's going on here. We have some scary people that have entered the country in the last 4 years, and they're all over the place. We don't know where the hell they are. We're trying to find them. Our federal government is trying to find them, but these people, the ones that steal and burn cities and act like they act, just can't tolerate it. So I think the average person who's in the middle, like, the 80% in the middle, sees everything for the way it was. January 6th was obviously exploited to hurt Trump and crush the spirit of those behind him.
I wish I was as optimistic as you are about the 80%. I think that many fewer people than that actually are willing to face, what actually transpired then. They're willing to accept, what the media has told them. And many of these people are actually doing what they're doing right now in protest against what's occurring right now based on misinformation and the innuendo and the overt lies. They're basically just accepting that and using that as the basis for justifying their actions. And they don't want to think that they were wrong. The people out there right now that are fighting with ICE or protesting against Trump or complaining against what happened in Venezuela or anything else, any number of different situations, they don't want to face the possibility that they're wrong. So they're going to double down and say, I don't care what they say, this is what happened. That's the part of the problem. People in general do that all the time. People are, let's face it, we're all insecure in some fashion. We all make ourselves feel more important because we are fearful of how we really are perceived by others.
Not me.
No, of course not. You're not that guy. Okay, but I know I am. We're all that way. We want others to think of us in our best light, and not to be wrong, and not to be vindictive, and not to be, promoting misinformation, bad karma, if you will. We want to think that we are good people looking out in the best interest of others. Yeah. It's funny as hell.
I'm laughing because I always think about this, Jack. Like I enjoy having a drink with you all, not just on this show, but we're buddies outside of here. I sit there and I think about it. Like people need to just sit back and watch this world from a very personal perspective. Would you want to have a beer or hang out with Nancy Pelosi or any of these people you see protesting? How about these shaved head, pierced up, lesbians or whatever? I mean, would you want to get a beer with them? You want to hang out with them? Want to go play poker? You want to play poker with those protesters?
But my actual answer is I don't care what they look like. What I care is what's in their hearts. What I care about is how open their mind is. What I care about is
see it.
But the only way you find out about many of these things is by talking to somebody. Talking is basically a lost art these days. Many people don't want to talk because they're afraid they're going to either say something wrong or they're going to get in an argument about something because, let's face it, what have you heard your whole life are the two things you don't want to talk about? Religion and politics. Okay, it always gets a visceral response.
Yeah.
And people in general, they need to talk about these things. This is where our lives revolve around these days. This is what is basically helping us become the people we are. Our mores are basically centered on religion. Okay, how we govern ourselves and interact in a basis that manages a nation or a city or a population is done through politics. What is politics? Politics is nothing more than professional relationships. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. People get develop relationships. They try to figure out what's the best thing that satisfies the needs of the majority of the people, and they promote it. Then they look for what type of nuances must be put in place to help the ones that are on the fringe or aren't covered by the majority of the decision making. And they try to make things as fair and equitable as possible. But it's all done through relationships and discourse. Let's talk about it. Let's work together and come to a solution. But when people are very unhappy with what's going on and they take and say it's personal and have a visceral response, a gut-wrenching response, and communication falls apart, this is what happens. Protest, sometimes demonstrations turning violent, people being provided misinformation. The internet. I love the internet and all the information it allows us to gather. I hate the internet for all the misinformation that's on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the difficulty in deciphering what is what. You can't.
Well, and that's why I'm a little bit harsher than you. You give people the ability to, the benefit of the doubt until you talk to them, get to know them. I'm starting to just judge people by how they look, how they act. And yeah, no, I have no use. I don't have any time for you in my life if you look like that or act like that. And now I do judge them. I'm harsh. You're nice. I'm not.
I'm going to tell you right now that, and I'm taking this phrase out of the new Superman movie from the Tuick, the number 4, the robot.
Yeah.
In my heart of hearts. Okay, and I think that's a very humorous statement. Gary's number 4 is a name, so is Gary. Those are funny statements, right? But what they tell me, what it gives me is a perspective on feelings, okay, and what it means. You want to, need to judge as a person that is evolving into leadership. We all want to basically be a role model for what's the best way to approach a problem, what's the best way to deal with others, what's the best way to put our best foot forward and try to be the best person we can. How do we do this? Well, we do this by not being judgmental. We do this by opening up our minds up to new ideas, willing to discuss it. When we don't have all the facts, sometimes we get the facts. Instead of making it a visceral response and get upset because of somebody's perspective, let's find out. Look things up. Try to get perspective. And then you look at pictures that are being painted. Sometimes like what's going on right now, with January 6th and all the acts of aggression against Trump and the Republican Party between 2016, 2020, 2024, all that stuff. You start asking yourself, well, one issue or one action that seems to be wrong, that's one thing. 2, all right. But you start saying 15, 20, and more. When they do things like they find burn bags, okay, of information that the deep state, our intelligence organizations, create, and then they change, and they want to destroy the evidence, but they forget to destroy it, okay, because there's so much of it. Okay, when you see things like that, and you see a lot of it, you have to ask yourself, how much of this is conspiracy theory, and how much is actually something that was being propagated, being put to the test to try to subvert our nation, to try to paint a picture of misdeed and mistrust. And when they do all this, when these people, the lefts, do all this, they're weaponizing the American public. They're weaponizing us against our own government. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, and how many times have you seen people go up to protesters and say, "What are you protesting against?" "Oh, Trump is this," and they're like, "Okay, how? Go away." They can't answer any questions. It's a constant habit for them to not know why they're protesting or the details in. So they're playing on the emotions of the weak-minded, in my opinion. Sorry, I'm judging again.
A Jar Jar Binks thing?
Yeah. They're playing on the emotions and the emotional reaction of the weak-minded who just look at something and go, "That's it." And unfortunately, the real American people are caught in the shrapnel.
Mm-hmm. And it's not going to change until we face the truth. Facing the truth is hard, but at some point there's going to be so much truth, and in so much detail that's being released that in order to ignore it, you basically have to be asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. And that's why when I run for president of the world, I'm going to say that anyone who gets a W-2 or files taxes gets a vote. So yeah, as far as the January 6th thing, I think a lot of people have been over that and seen that they played that thing out to death against Trump. They used it as a weapon for years and years. They're still using it, but now there's more information to back up how they used it. So thank God for that. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing now what we knew is just being confirmed. And it took 2026. It took that long. It's 2026 now, Jay.
Yeah, and this whole thing started in 2016. Crazy. 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years to come to light. And it's still coming to light.
When did he come down the escalator? 2015 or 14?
Oh, the one when the escalator was shut down?
No. When did Trump announce he was running for president the first time? Everyone thought it was a joke.
2015.
15, yeah. It's 11 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when did they turn on Trump? Was that because when he said, "I don't need the media for anything, you guys are dishonest"?
No, they turned on him the second they saw he had some stamina. It was a real race. That was it, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Boom. Wait a minute. And it turns out he actually did start his run as a joke. Like, all right, screw it, I'm going to run. And then actually he saw the numbers were amazing. And he was like, wait a minute. I actually have to run now.
I didn't hear that. Did he actually say it was a joke?
Yeah, there's a documentary. Well, no, it wasn't a joke. It was just a passionate, reflex. And then it turned out he was like, holy smokes, I could actually win this.
And he did.
I could actually do this. Wow. Yeah. And then he was stuck in it. Mm-hmm. But, ever since that man came down that escalator, the people that are in power have been threatened and will do anything they can. They raided the guy's house with weapons. The our FBI raided his house. They sued him for $500 million. They charged him with 34 felonies or whatever. For what? For what?
And he was indicted, and he was prosecuted and found guilty.
I just I admire and people have to come back and admire the strength of this person.
Yeah. He's definitely tenacious.
He could go to Monaco and be the richest guy in Monaco for the rest of his days. Just party like a rock star. Mm-hmm. But no, he's not. He's here being hated.
Exactly.
But that Ford Motor Company jerk screaming at him the other day. Great. You know, what's going on?
Meantime, he's creating peace.
Yeah.
I mean, the Middle East. I mean, South America.
He took back the Panama Canal for us. People don't even remember that anymore. And it was not that long ago. It was 6 months ago. Yeah. Remember that? You know what that did for North America? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Anyway, they're going to give it to China, let China take it over. Come, give me a break.
Well, they did.
They tried to.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who can see through a little bit of fog has a clear picture. But the problem is the media is so damn overwhelming that people's emotions are triggered so easily that they find a basis to believe the rhetoric. So they're, knee-jerk reaction.
You almost think that the media should be run like they should run election commissions. They should have impartial panels overseeing these things to make certain that they remain pragmatic and nonpartisan in their perspective, that they focus on the facts, they focus on the truth, instead of being allowed to, focus on those principles that they believe should be propagated, that they believe should be marketed and promoted. That's the problem. I mean, our election commission report to Democrats, for Christ's sakes, report to elected position where that person can benefit, from the election commission. That should be outrageously discounted as a lie. Why are we doing this? It's wrong. We should be outraged about that, but we aren't.
Well, look at the Illinois people. Not outraged at Pritzker's tax hikes, his complete misuse of funds, doubling the budget almost, all this stuff that he's done to us, the taxpayers. He's acting like a president of the country. He's doing things against the federal government. He's putting us all at risk, and they're still going to vote for him. There's a whole lot of people that just yesterday were celebrating with him because he's doing this clean slate bill, where people with nonviolent criminal records can get it sealed, get their criminal records sealed. Big deal. Any lawyer in the freaking state can do that. They can seal your nonviolent crimes so you can get a job. Obviously, if it's a felony, you can't get that expunged no matter what Pritzker does or says he can do. But people are still going to vote for this guy.
Yeah.
Completely destroyed the state from 2019 to now.
How about all the money that the government hasn't given us because of our sanctuary state status? And we're going to lose even more opportunities come February 1st. I don't know how much we're going to lose. I mean, Trump is somewhat limited as to how he can prevent the money that's being earmarked for Illinois from coming to us, but certain monies he can. And that will impact Illinois. People don't recognize, or they don't want to recognize, that what Pritzker is doing to the state is actually hurting us. I mean, I don't get that at all.
It's almost like I should play some Twilight Zone intro music right now. It's almost like someone has a playbook on how to destroy America.
Oh, that's that cookbook, How to Cook a Human. Remember that episode?
No. It's almost like there's a playbook being followed by certain governors in this country. And then the way Mom Donnie behaved, like that's another one, character. He's screaming at Tom Homan. Did you see that? They had to hold him back, the state troopers. What the heck is going on?
Well, he's not getting his way. He's not getting his way. I heard that the governor of New York, said that they don't have the money to give him to make bus rides free as one of his campaign promises.
No kidding, and they all went up $3.
Yeah, and she said, oh, they want, and regarding free healthcare, free daycare. She's going, well, we want to do that. We'd like to do that. Don't have the money. Right. All these promises that Madame has told everybody to get elected are suddenly falling apart. Where's the outrage there by the citizens who promised this and aren't going to get it? Where's that outrage?
Where is the outrage? When does it end? And we're just laughing because it's so absurd. But wait, hold on. Mom Donnie promises free daycare. Wrong state, buddy. You got to go to Minneapolis for that. The Somalians have that all sewn up, buddy.
That's funny.
But nobody knows nothing. And then this is my last point for you. Is I was in the city last night at a big meeting with some political leaders, and they were talking about Kamala was in town yesterday morning, and they all got to hang out with her. And our vice president was here, and I'm hopefully not being watched by any of my powerful friends, but we're on the other side of the aisle. But they were sitting there talking about it, Jack. We were with Kamala. She's so amazing. Oh my God, is she brilliant? She's so smart. This and I'm like, you had breakfast with Kamala? And yeah, and we're, talking, all morning, this and that. And everybody was supposedly was at this event. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like teenagers. Like, remember when?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just laughing because it's like, could you imagine spending an hour with Kamala Harris?
I don't know the woman, but
Or
no,
Tim?
I can't see it.
Tim Walz?
Oh my God, no.
You want to hang out with him?
Nope.
You want to get a beer with Tim?
Not a chance in hell.
How about you, John? You want to get a beer with him? I mean, that's how I'm 41 years old now. I'm kind of looking at people like, why would I want to spend time with you, even 5 minutes? And I'm pretty cold-blooded about it now. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, the thing is, we know these people. We know what their actions are, what they stand for, what's happening to their states, what they've done. What they said. We remember the interview with Kamala, even on her own with a CNN. I mean, her own station, and how she blew it. I mean, there's certain people you kind of have an idea what they're about. I mean, Kamala is probably a really nice person. I would not want to see her running our nation. Okay, Tim Walz, the guy is. I mean, if half the stuff they're saying about this guy is true, the kickbacks and everything else that apparently is going on, I mean, my God, he should be in jail for Christ's sakes.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. There's no deep state, right?
What's a deep state? There's no such thing.
Well, I want to share with you one more thing.
Sure.
Here it is.
Come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked.
Hillary.
Hillary.
If they're working and are law-abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English. And you have to wait in line.
That is so
What's gonna
insensitive.
happen is
Yes, not
you are gonna
politically
pay
correct.
A significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. I think the American people, they appreciate and believe in immigration. But they can't have a situation where you just have 500,000 people pouring over the border without any kind of mechanism to control it.
How about 11.5?
Yeah.
I know I can speak very firmly for the Democrats. Support strong
Nancy.
border control.
Oh.
And it must be part, and the first part, of any comprehensive immigration reform.
Illegal immigration is wrong.
I think we got to have
Even
It's
Schumer got
cartoon
into
land.
it. No kidding.
It's cartoon land, Jack.
What do you call that? That's called lefty logic, right? Lefty logic.
And what did we say when we were kids? Do as I say, not as I do.
Correct. Yeah. My father never said that, but everybody else sure did.
And we would say, why, Mom? Because I'm the mom. So, well, I think the facts that have come out now in recent times really clarify for everyone and reconstitute the feeling in our heart anyway about January 6th. I didn't see anything ridiculous going on when it was live. I don't. They turned it, and then afterward I see all this mashups of what's going on. I'm like, I don't know. I think the people that are actually paying money to live here are actually paying their taxes and aren't on some support line. I think we're all just kind of over it. We're pretty much over it, but we want to see some arrests.
We want to make certain that what goes down in history is the truth. What I would hate to see is President Trump, defined by the actions and the philosophies and the lies of another group. Okay, if a person is a bad president, be a bad president on your own merits, not by some propagated, propaganda that is basically being promoted to deceive the public and to paint a picture. I mean, this is wrong. Trump should stand on his own merits. Right now, his merits are showing he's very effective. He's very good. He's tough. We got a lot. The nations respect us. We've got people in Venezuela that are celebrating what's going on. Okay, he's stabilizing our region. Okay, our neighbors have to be strong, but they also have to be safe and secure to protect our interests. Mexico, Canada, the Caribbean, South America. These are people in our backyard, nations in our backyard. These nations have got to be our allies. We can't have bases, things set up someplace else that could threaten the United States and threaten our interests. He's doing that. He's making America strong. He's making us respected. And America will not be respected if our leadership isn't respected.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's being disrespected every day.
At least it was. But it still is being done that from within.
So I guess the takeaway for this, for me, is if they look like those crazy protesters, treat them like those crazy protesters. Jack's nice. He's telling us no. But
I'm not saying that. I'm saying me talking to him is one thing, but putting up with them restricting ICE, that's a different situation.
No, I'm taking this world in a whole different way. 2026. You know how you get in your car and all of a sudden it becomes a different person in the driver's seat than the guy that was outside the car, and you're just like, you could sit there and someone could just barely swerve into your lane. And you're like, piece of garbage.
No, I go, son of a.
You got to look at him, too. You got to get up there and look at him and give him that ugly eye. Like, you stupid. We all do it. What is that? That's how I'm handling 2026.
Okay.
I'm just going for it. Everybody get out of my way. You son of a... You piece of... That's it. And I'm going to be happy. God bless nobody. I'm joking.
We know. It's fun to think that, but reality is something different.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I'll tell you what, to close, Mike, on that note, I'd like to point out that all the data, the acts of defiance, the overt lies and misinformation perpetrated by our government officials in our intelligence community and outside agencies, both foreign and domestic, infers a compelling conclusion. Okay, that you'd have to be asleep at the wheel not to seriously consider the possibility that we are no longer dealing with conspiracy theories, but that there has been an ongoing conspiratorial effort to weaponize the American public against President Trump and the Republican Party. As more information is released, hopefully we'll have an opportunity to delve further into these attacks on our democracy and defend and determine the extent of the complicity and complacency of government officials, the deep state, and our liberally biased media to promote Republican hate mongering and subvert President Trump's efforts to perform his job. Thank you, Mike, for sharing your man-on-the-street perspective. And thank you for watching.
Mike on the mic.
Please join us for future episodes. You're welcome, Mike. Please join us for future episodes of Conservative Talk Chicago. We look forward to being of continued service.